Welcome back to another video. Today we have another common mistakes in chess episode, and we're looking at a game from the 1100 rating level. This is a series basically where I find random games from people who send them to me, and I basically look through those games, I analyze the games, and I go through the mistakes and the good moves that were played. So hopefully you can learn if you're in a similar rating level. Right before we dive in, there is one thing I want to say, which is that if you want to submit your own game, or you want to let me know of any suggestions you have, of any comments that you have about these videos, then you can comment them down below. But a much more reliable way to do that would be to email me, which is something you can find my email down below in the description. And the reason for this is that lately YouTube has actually started turning off the comment section on my videos. It's very annoying, but it's just something with the algorithm. And so if you have something you want to say, whether it's a game or a suggestion or anything like that, then you can find my email in the comment section. Regardless, let's go ahead and dive straight in. So here the person was playing as white, and he goes for e4, e5, and now d4. Black takes, and he goes for c3. This is known as the Danish. And you are giving away a pawn, but in exchange for that pawn, in fact, they're giving away this pawn as well. But the point is, yes, you are down material here, but notice that your bishops are very powerful. And this is what is known as compensation. You are down material, but you actually have a lot of ways to attack here. I think that playing gambits at the 1000 rating level is actually a very strong choice, because playing gambits will teach you how to convert initiatives and positions like these where you're down material, but maybe you have a lead in development, maybe your pieces are better placed. So it will teach you how to take a position like that and transform it into checkmate or into winning a lot of material. And so I do think that gambits, aside from being fun, are also very instructive and educational. And so I do think that there is a lot of reason to play gambits. So here he goes for queen to f6 instead of taking the pawn. And if maybe they played bishop e7, you can leave the tension here because, again, your bishop will be able to develop quickly, and maybe you can develop your knight perhaps. But of course, with queen to f6, now he's threatening to take the pawn because the queen defends the pawn, and this would be horrible. It's actually going to be a fork, actually. And so you have to do something. Here you took with the knight, which is great. He pins your knight, and now you unpin the knight. Just having pinned pieces is just something uncomfortable, even if there's maybe not an immediate way that he can take advantage of it. There's no reason to keep these pinned pieces on the board, especially here where there's even more attackers. It's probably smart to just unpin the piece. He develops his knight to h6. You develop your own knight, and now he moves to g4. And g4 is actually knight to g4 is a pretty big mistake. Now it doesn't look like a mistake. But it is, and the reason for this, well, first of all, what is this knight doing? This is just a move without a purpose at all. It's not stopping you from castling in any way. It's not really attacking anything. Sometimes maybe there's a bishop here that opponents attack like this, but of course that's not the case here. And so there's really no purpose for this move. And so that's, first of all, aside from other things, the first reason that this is a bad move. But specifically here, the knight on h6 was actually doing an important job of defending this f7 square, because you have a bishop here, and often your queen can get to a position very quickly where it attacks this square, as along with the knight, in some cases can attack it. And so having a knight here, not only do you want to develop your other pieces, but also the knight is just a strong defensive piece as well. And so this is a bad move. You actually capitalize on the move perfectly. You play knight to d5, which is the exact way that you should take advantage of this bad move. You want to be aggressive now. He's taken away a key defender from his position, and so you want to use that to your benefit. Here, you're attacking the queen, you're attacking this fork, you're attacking the bishop. He does have a way to get out of this, though. He can take the bishop first, and then defend this square. It seems like everything is fine here. But because of your lead in development, which is again something that you got because you did that gambit, notice that now you have beautiful ideas such as queen to g5. It is a fork. You're going to win this pawn. After he moves the knight, you can take here hitting the rook. The rook has to go to a very passive square. And here you can continue the attack in a number of different ways. And so that is just a very good, move. Additionally, if the queen moves here, for example, instead to defend this pawn this way, you can't go here. Well, I guess you still can, but you can also just go queen to f4, which is exactly what you did in the game. And this is a strong move. You're attacking this pawn. You're also attacking this c7 square. And there's all sorts of ideas of maybe some sort of combination with the queen and bishop, maybe sacking the knight in some cases, and taking the pawn here. And so the point is, you have a lot of ways to attack because of your extra material and your extra development that you have out. And actually, going to g4, the g5, sorry, the more I look at it, it actually seems very good. And at first glance, I didn't like this move because it breaks the principle of trading, right? Like you're trading the queens, and often that means that you're going to be taking away a big piece that can attack. But in this case, his queen was a very big defender, and because the queen is gone, you actually have a very strong position, and also because of the fact that you've brought another piece into the attack while taking back. In fact, here, this is just, I think, already winning. You have a fork here, and if he moves, you have a fork here. This is just completely winning. And so I think that actually moving the queen to g5 was good, maybe even best. I don't blame you for not doing it because, again, you don't really want to trade. You want to somehow use your queen and do some sort of checkmate. I understand that, but you still should try to look at moves like these and at least consider them. Because even if at first glance it seems like you're trading away and then you don't have any sort of attacking ideas, he has no development. You have a lot of development, and this knight here is not helping the defense in any way. And so in this position, just instinctively and intuitively, it seems like you're winning here. And I think that this is just, this is already basically game over. And so, of course, going queen to f4 is still very good. It's still a very aggressive square for the queen, eyeing down this f7 square. But I do think that you should have considered also maybe going to g5. But this is just a very small difference. Now, knight to f6 was played here, stopping you from accessing this f7 square, but dropping the pawn on c7. The king moves, now you take the rook, this is good. d6 was played, you castled, and then you moved your rook to d1. And I think that all of the moves you've played so far have been very much close to perfect. I mean, you've played very nicely so far. And this is also very good, this castle and then rook to d1, but you could have done this in one move, I think, right? Castling long, you castle, and you get a rook to d1 to attack. And so, maybe castling short, it seems safer for you, because maybe, you don't have the c-pawn, maybe you think that he can attack somehow, but there's no way to attack here. And in the future, king to b1 is going to keep the king very safe. And so I think that here, for the sake of not only getting your king safe, but at the same time continuing a powerful attack, castling long would have been a bit stronger. But this is a very small difference, of course. Castling here and then moving your rook to d1 is still very good. The king is now coming into the middle of the board to defend, and you do the perfect thing you should be doing, e5, opening up the position. He can't take because of the queen, but even if he took, that's opening up the e-file, the king's on the e-file. This is just basically game over. The knight moves now, and you have checkmate. And if the knight doesn't move, then you can take the knight. Maybe even taking here is stronger in some cases with some ideas to attack. This is just a very pleasant position. And yeah, this is amazing. I think here e5 is another move that you could have considered, but I do agree with your choice of getting the king safer. So I think castling is better here, but I do think that e5 is still possible, but you should be a bit more careful in a position like this to open up the board, because his king is kind of in the center, but your king is very much in the center as well. And so even though I would highly doubt that this is a bad position for you, I do think that castling here is a very good defensive option here. When you're attacking, you should never turn off your defensive mindset, and you should always look to for ways, especially if you don't have an immediate way to checkmate your opponent. You should also at some point look for ways to get your king safer and to get your own position safer. But overall, this was just a very, very nice game. I mean, it really highlights the beauty of playing this gambit that you played here. I think you played it perfectly as well. Got your knight out, stopped the pin, this beautiful move here, and then you got your queen into the game. And I think moving the queen to g5, like I said, is better. And I think this also kind of highlights the idea of, not following principles too specifically or too greatly, right? You have to also adjust and realize, in my specific position, do the principles that I know actually matter, right? So here, usually you don't want to trade when you're attacking, but here, I mean, you end up in a position where your attack is just so powerful that you should be trading. And so, principles are something where you should be breaking them in some certain positions. And so I do think that here, queen to f4 is slightly worse. But again, I mean, it's still amazing. You're attacking the knight. You have pressure here. Overall, just a very good and well-played game by you. And yeah, this is going to be the video for today. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.